being like, no one's here, so we don't want you guys to come in yet. We haven't really cleaned anything up. And we're like, oh, no, it's cool. We just have to come in and use the bathroom. We'll hang out in the van. And our drummer at the time, Otter, his name's Matt, went down into the basement and used the toilet. And when he flushed, all the pipes exploded and burst.
So it was his fault?
Yeah, it exploded. It fucking, the entire venue was flooded. And then
in the fire system.
Yes.
Right. So if the fire system didn't work, then they couldn't have a show, and we all just hung out. Was Craig Aronson there? Is that why
he may have been, because I think that was at the time we were like just starting to figure out where we were going to sign, where we were going to be, and
I think that's why. I feel like that was the connection to that show, is that Craig put it together for some reason or something.
How we got on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because I remember him being there and him being like, "Oh, you're gonna love this band. I'm trying to sign them," and then we didn't get to see you guys play, and then I didn't see you again until in Virginia at the Richmond radio show, like 10 years later, probably, at least.
Wow, crazy.
Somewhere around. No, it was like 2008, and it was like that huge. I don't know. It was us and you guys, and I don't know who else was there, but it was like a radio show. So
yeah,
I just remember seeing everybody like for 2 seconds in the back.
Bungalows, like on that boardwalky type thing with all the bungalows.
I don't even remember. I think it was Arena, actually.
Really? In Florida, though, right?
No. In Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, Nature's Florida. Got it. Richmond. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
but and every time, I feel like every time our bands crossed paths, it was a very quick, like I remember seeing Gerard at the show in Richmond for like 2 seconds, and I was on the phone. He gave me a hug, and then I think everybody had shit to, radio shows, just like in and out, right? But yeah, and I was looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing some of, once we get back to this stuff, seeing it again. Be good.
I can't wait, man. I really can't. It's such a weird experience to be like, hey, all right, all this stuff that you've been working towards, and you have all these plans, well-made plans, and then all of a sudden it's like, hurry up and wait,
Yeah.
What happens?
I can imagine too. I mean, I know that how much probably was talked about and worked on before. Was it like December of 19 when you guys kind of started up again?
Yeah, that was the show back.
Yeah, so I can imagine how much work was there, and then you're just like that fucking pause button, right?
That's the thing, right? Like, the play is to make it seem like you didn't put any work in. You didn't prepare for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, be James Dean. You just want to be cool without even trying.
Oh, we're just gonna play a show. It's cool.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't even practice.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a guitar here. Weird.
Oh, what? You guys are here? Cool. Fancy seeing you. Like the stories of like, all the guys from, all the members from the police were like at a wedding, and they just like got up and played at the wedding because they were all at the wedding. Like, man, that would never happen in my life ever. Like, I'd be like, I don't remember anything. I don't know how to play this song at all.
Oh, that's the worst, man. It's like, the only reason that I was able to be like, oh, the riff for that thing is because I knew we were getting on the phone tonight and I had to fucking figure it out again. But like, yeah, these are like interviews like this where we talk about like, music or like songs that I've written or like things, that you may have recorded fucking 15 years ago or something like that. You're like, I don't remember that. I don't remember what I fucking wrote and recorded last week. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many songs swimming around in my head that I had to I have notes everywhere, like little Post-its and shit. And I take video on my phone of how to play things.
I do index cards. That's my like secret code.
Jimmy.
And I have a box like that thick. And
really?
Every time I work on a song and it gets past sort of like the just playing a riff, when it starts really becoming something, I write sort of the notes to how to play it, or like whatever I'm using, or if it's like a strange tuning or whatever pedal. And then I just keep this box of notes. I've been doing it for like 20 years. I have like so many of them. Yeah.
That's my dream. Like, I always think like, oh, all right. I'm gonna be home, so I'm gonna catalog everything. And
Yeah.
I don't think I would do like index, or I would do like a notebook or something like that. I get maybe 2 songs in, and then I just fucking stop doing it.
But it kind of goes with the territory. So I always get in trouble because I hate to practice. So if I'm in a position with a band and they want to practice, I'll go, but I'm not prepared. I'm never prepared for practice, which I think is why you call it practice, right? You go because why show up being prepared? I don't care. But I just want to make.
That sounds infuriating.
I just want to make new shit, right? That's all I care about is making new shit. So every time it's like, I'm terrible about practicing. Terrible about it. Because my mind goes like immediately, just something new.
It's hard, man, especially too, like when, we've been in so many different bands. Like, I mean, like, how many songs have you written over the years, and how many bands? Ridiculous.
I don't even know how many bands I've been in.
Same. So like,
I don't know.
It's hard to keep track of. You know what I mean? And I agree. I love the process of coming up with something new, but I also really do like practicing. I like over practicing to a point where it's fucking crazy around me.
Yeah, I've told this story many times, but I have this other band called Sleeper Car, which is like kind of a country-ish band, and we did like 3 weeks with Coldplay, and we practiced once before, and the first show was in Detroit. So we drove from El Paso to Detroit, and we practiced once, and then got in the van, and the whole time, just guys in the band were like, "We hate you, we hate." Nervous about playing to these big crowds, and I was just like, no one's gonna care. Like, don't worry, it's gonna be more fun if we just cruise. It's gonna be good. Don't worry about it.
Your justification, like, we're playing these shows. No, we're not making any. We're not. No one's here to see us, guys.
No, literally nobody. I mean, it's a band no one's heard of with a dude from a band that. Those people don't probably know about. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my favorite thing.
Oh, it's so good. I think the thing that and going back to sort of when you do interviews and they sort of have made this like list of stuff. Sometimes I feel like they're trying to stump you.
Oh yeah.
Or catch you in this thing, Friday Beers, is that it's usually musicians. Sometimes I have other sort of people on or whatever, but also I don't do any sort of research or have any planned questions at all. So it's just like, I just want to talk to people like you meet them in a bar on a Friday, like,
Yeah.
If we were both going to hang out with Tucker,
Yes, I do know. I wish he was here. Is he on?
Oh, I know. Me too. I love him so much. He's the best, man.
He really is. Oh man. He makes me fucking piss. Like, he's so funny. And I've never met someone that was like so good at social media and things of that nature. Like, the only reason I know how to do the fucking fly shit of what I do know how to do is because he taught me how to do it. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, he's really good at it. Really, really good.
He's also like one of the best. So like writing songs with him. So I've done some songs with him, and he's like one of the best musical drummers I've ever played with. And like I've played with some great drummers, but playing with him is like, you send him an idea and he sends it back and your song is better. That's, to me, like the biggest compliment you can give somebody is you made this song better,
Well, that's
what a dude.
I've said to him too, is like, he's one of the very few drummers that writes hooks on drums.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Very melodic. Like, that's all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, okay, that fill, that's the hook to me. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, when I think of Thursday, I mean, I think of a lot of things when I think of Thursday, but I mean, I think the thing that most people think of when they think of Thursday is, and then hit, right? Like, how the fuck do you make a hook?
Oh, yeah, he just, Tucker's watching, so.
Oh, is he watching?
Yeah, he just said, love you, dude. Yeah, love you too. Obviously, his ears are ringing, so he had to tune in, right? Yeah, fuck that dude, man. Tucker with a super cute ass kid.
Oh my, like she's a Gerber baby. She really is.
I know. I asked him if he's got her an agent yet. Like that kid is, dude. That's your future right there.
Yes. Some people want their
is...
kids doctors and lawyers, and it's like, yeah. Could you just have like a perfect head? Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
Done. Accomplished.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
So what do you do when there's 25 feet of snow?
I've thought about like, wouldn't it be great if we had a flamethrower to instead of shoveling?
You can get one.
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
Elon Musk, right?
Yeah. It's awful. It really is awful. The other thing that started to happen too is this whole winter has been like one calamity after another. My house is basically on hospice. Like it's an older house. I think it was built like in the 90s. We moved in around maybe 3-4 years ago. And we knew that certain things were like, we'll have to fix this eventually. We'll have to fix that. But this year, every fucking thing has gone down because of the snow, because of the cold, because of just, I don't know, demons or gremlins or something. But we've had leaks in like our whole ceiling in the living room fell down.
Oh.
Yeah, it was awful. And what's funny is like the way my house is set up is like my living room's here, right? Say this is my living room. And then on top of that is my bedroom, and then attic roof, right? The leak came in through the roof, dripped down a wall, didn't hit my room at all, and then just flooded out the living room. So that happened. Then we had a weird septic thing where like, like a pipe
that
broke.
Wins.
It started to leak into that happened. And now because this ice storm, I had a leak down in my basement because there was like an electrical conduit that was buried under the snow and ice got into it. So now the ice got in and then melted and then leaked down into my basement. It's like, what the fuck? Like it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. So that's where we're at.
Maybe it's time to fly to Cancun.
Yeah, it feels like it. It feels like it. Especially because my kids are learning fractions now. And I realized that I'd never learned how to do fractions correctly.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's funny because my friends with like that age kids and the learning at home, like I've had a few conversations with friends that are just like melting down, like grown-ups that are just like, I can't do it. Like, I feel so bad for you guys.
It's hard, man, because they know way more than I do. They're they're very well versed. If I have to like look at something to correct it, and I don't know the correct answer immediately, it's starting like they're starting to realize that, like how dumb their father is. And I see it in their eyes, like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. Like it's like, oh, all right, and then they start to do things to get over on me. So
that's when you just have like a guitar off at that point. Like you think, oh yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Hey, finger tapped.
Yeah, you write a riff. You write a fucking riff, or 3/4 of a riff or whatever.
Oh man! Recently we did a thing where my son's class, he has a really great teacher. He actually ended up having the same teacher that my daughter's had, and she has this thing every year, like a little festival for the kids. And this was at the end of last semester, where if they do their work on time or certain thing here, they'll have like this party. And so we went on the Zoom class and had like a little concert for them, and played, and my kids played kazoos and stuff, and played guitar and sang.
Awesome.
And it's awesome, but those are the things that I've never been more scared and nerve-wracking than playing to like a full classroom of second or third grade.
I know, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
We were talking, I don't know, I was talking to someone the other day on this, and we were talking about public speaking and just how impossible it is. Like I'm totally fine at like Fuji Rock, no problem. Like 50,000 people, no problem. Like no worries, 10 people.
Oh no,
I can't like talk to 10 people and I'm fucking fried. Done. It's the worst.
Definitely.
Do you ever watch it? Have you
I think
seen,
that's also
have
too,
you
like,
seen, have you seen Jim Atkins? Sorry, go.
just in general, I've seen Jim.
No, no, no. Sorry, because either my internet is making you
sorry.
slow for a second. No, I was saying, yeah. Have you ever seen Jim Atkins before? Do you? Have you seen his podcast that he does, the Frequencies?
I have not. Unless it's about like,
So he
like,
has.
the murder of a family. I haven't listened to any podcasts.
Did you see the? Oh, I was just gonna say he was talking with Mark Hoppus, and Mark was like, "Yeah, my kid graduated from high school, and I had to play a song for them on the." It was like the same thing, like same conversation, like dude that is comfortable with a million people, but on Zoom in front of the class, fucking weird.
Nerve-wracking.
What's your favorite murder podcast?
Well, Serial was great. Basically, it's my wife that gets into them, and then she's like, "Yo, you gotta listen to this." And so we did, of course, Serial, and then the one with the hearts, where they the two ladies had adopted these kids and they drove off a cliff. There was that one. You ever listen to that one? No, it's awful.
I didn't know that. Jesus.
It's so fun. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, like, I've realized throughout the entire process of being quarantined and things of that nature, it's like you're home with your kids, and then you make them go to bed, and then you watch TV shows about people murdering children, and then they like, and then they're scared, and you have to go in their room and be like, all right, just trying to make sure you're not murdered and you're all right. Okay, I'm gonna go back. And I'm gonna really
oh my God.
up. Yeah. So that's how we've spent.
We watched the Night Stalker.
Oh yeah,
on Netflix, which is good. But then I had to go and cut dowels for every window in our house. Because like so you can put them in the because my wife's like, we need dowels, and I'm like, okay, like it's definitely if it makes you feel good, we'll do that. But fuck yeah,
I definitely.
Every time we watch it, I start imagining what I'm gonna have to do after we watch it. It's like the list of what you have to.
Like those bars that you stick under the door handle, and it like I have those on every door in my house. Doesn't matter. Yeah. You have to go to the bathroom? Here.
That's what they do.
I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, you had a room there. But
Here's my question.
My only problem
Go ahead.
right now is that they're now making 4-part documentaries that need to be 1 part.
Yes.
Right? So just so much B footage and so much like, I don't know if you got to the point there was like a guy from Austria that lived at the hotel that was like, that didn't have anything to do with anything at all. So I think they're just trying to stretch it out now into.
Yeah, they're trying to sort of drama that you don't, like give you information later on that they got first. But that's the thing is like, a lot of these are, you have a really good idea for a documentary, but you don't have a documentary yet because this shit isn't solved. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we solve this unsolved mystery? Yeah, that'd be great. Can you solve it? No, but we want to tell you about the shit that's going to frustrate you for 6 months. It's like, all right. Awesome. That was like
so good.
One on HBO about the beach family, where it's like this kid, his mother ends up getting murdered, and the sister and the aunt found her, and it like revolved around this like gifting table scheme, but they never, they're never able to solve it. So it's like you just watch this thing and you're like, oh well, okay.
Yeah, there has to be an end to for me personally. Like can't do that where you get to the end of it and they're like, we'll let you know. Or like, I don't even like the new Unsolved Mysteries because it's the same thing. Like, this happened
Right.
20 years ago. They've never solved it. I'm not going to remember that.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm getting so much shit from my friends of being like, yeah, like I really like Unsolved Mysteries, but I just wish they would solve them. And people are like, that's the show. What the fuck is wrong with you?
But it's terrible. I just want to watch solved mysteries. Like,
Yes,
I want the other show.
Watching Top Chef, everybody makes a meal and then nothing and then it fucking ends. Like it's like, what did it taste like? Who won? We don't know. Yeah, there was just food and then we left.
Who cares?
Great. Yeah, that's not a show.
I know.
That's what I do every night for dinner.
But I think there needs to be, yeah. I would say probably, and I'm sure the same thing with you because of this. You're watching more of these things. But what's been your favorite silver lining to this? You know, being at home, whatever.
I mean, honestly, just being with my kids and my wife and being able to not that you can make plans to go anywhere or do anything, but you can be like, oh, next week we should do this, or we should hang out with this person via Zoom, or they've quarantined and we should do something, or make a fucking doctor's appointment. Like I've gone to the dentist more times in the quarantine than I have in my entire life. Yeah, I've been on tour since I was 17. So like, how do you fucking make a 6-month appointment? You know what I mean, to clean your teeth? You just can't.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'll call when I'm home, and if you're available, I'll see you. But I like that.
Yeah. What was so that's similar to me. Like I went straight from high school to touring. What gave you, I'm kind of always interested in sort of people's, the beginning story that journalists don't really talk about because maybe everybody knows it already. But I was like kind of looking back at this point in your career and saying like, what is it, with hindsight, what is it that made you want to do that?
Well, that's kind of simple. For me, my dad was a drummer. My grandfather was a drummer. They would have these date books, like giant fucking date books, like with rubber bands wrapped around them. And they would look through it and they'd have all these like different shit sticking out of it, notes and stuff. Like, oh, what are you doing next week? Are you playing here? Oh, yeah, I got to play here. And then, oh, can you do me a favor? Cover me on this gig. And then I'll do, it was the secret society, It reminded me of when Indiana Jones would have that binder with all like the drawings and shit in it. You know what I mean? It was like these hieroglyphics that like I didn't understand, but they like knew about, and like these places that they played or people that they played with. And it was just so fucking cool to me. Like I wanted to be a part of it so bad. And so my dad and my mom, they split when I was around 3 and divorced when I was 7. But on the weekends, I would go visit my dad. And if you were playing a club that I wasn't allowed in or something like that, like normally I would go with my grandfather who played this crazy speakeasy. And it was like, you could grab a meal and stuff like that and drink and watch this band. And every weekend they would play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And he had like a Dixieland band, a jazz band, and then like a standards band. And so I would go there and hang out with all these jazz musicians and fucking like it was like this whole other world, and I knew like that this was like a special kind of upbringing or a special kind of education really that none of my friends were getting, and I would, if I got to stay up like super late, like I would get to go to the diner with all the jazz cats like afterwards and like, just hang out and like watch them talk and smoke cigarettes and fucking, just hang out. And it was like, I want that. I want to be in this world. There's something really cool about this world and this is where I need to be. So, from an early age, like, my friends were like, oh, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a, football player, or I want to be a veterinarian. And I was like, I want to be in a band. I want to be a musician. And that was it, man. Like I started my first band at 11. I played my first show at 13. And my first tour was at 17. And that was it. Like I never wanted to look back.
How did you get to this music?
To this music?
How did you get? Yeah.
Well, I think what was cool to me was like my dad was in a blues band, and he would play me stuff like uh, Son House and Muddy Waters and BB King, of course, Buddy Guy, like all these guys, and like I would listen to these recordings and a lot of the old stuff, right? Robert Johnson, stuff like that. Like it was all like one mic in a basement somewhere, like really makeshift recordings, made because of the love of it, and it was very DIY, it felt. And so
Yeah.
when I to high school and stuff like that, like, or actually even before that, grammar school, Nirvana came out, and Nirvana changed everything, right? So you started to like follow, like, all right, well, what else is out there? Like, you find out about Sonic Youth, you find out about the Melvins, and you start to like go down that rabbit hole. Like, every shirt that Kurt wore, you would see, oh, that's a new band I have to go check out. And in a way, you start to find out about, all right, well, where is this stuff sold? What record store? Like, who has this? We didn't have the internet. So like it was like you would read liner notes, right? Find out about Sonic Youth, find out about Melvins, find out about Jawbreaker. Who are they thanking? Who are they talking about? Who are they on tour with? Who's seen who, and all that shit. And I found this record store called Let It Rock in Montclair, New Jersey. And that was the thing, right? Like, you would go and try to mow a bunch of lawns so that you could score like, $10-15, and then, all right, I'm going to buy a record this week. And you would go through and look at all like the covers, and my favorite thing about this record store in Montclair was that the guy that ran it, he would always have like these real snarky, fucked up like descriptions on the record. You know what I mean? And be like, Operation Ivy. One of the guys from Rancid. Before they sucked. It was like,
yeah.
Fuck,
I miss that a lot.
Yeah. So like, all right, I'm gonna check this out, and that's when I started to find about Avail, and I remember buying a Gorilla Biscuits record and Minor Threat, and like you just start to find out about these bands, and the great thing about it was like, oh my god, like this band is from my state, or this band is from like a city I've been to, and then you start to realize like you don't need to be this guitar virtuoso or like this rock star to start a band. I don't need to be Axl Rose. I can write a song in my basement, put a band together with my friends, and put on a show and charge like a soup can, and I'm doing it. Like, I'm part of it, already. And that was the realization to me. I think finding out about the Bouncing Souls and Weston and like these bands that were touring, and I think that was like the first like underground punk rock and like the indie shows I was started to go to. Was like I found out about Digger and all these bands that were touring around my, you know what I mean? And so I was like, oh shit, I can put on shows and play with my favorite fucking bands, and all it cost me is like $50 to rent a hall. And and that I started to do was start a band. Who's got $10? Let's do it. All right, let's rent this hall, and let's see if we can get LES Stitches or the Casualties to come play. And I'll play, and my cousin will play, and we'll fucking do it. And that's how it went.
Yeah.
But
that's the greatest. Like, that's the greatest thing.
Yeah, it was like my dad's DIY scene was blues, and my DIY scene was like punk rock and hardcore.
Yeah. The best thing, and I've said this a million times, the best thing about punk rock is the everybody was allowed, right? I mean, I know once you get in, there's a lot of politics or whatever, but nobody said, like, people may have said, like, when I was 13, like, your band's terrible, but they didn't say I couldn't play. They just said your band's terrible. But you know what I mean? It wasn't, there was no entry fee. But, there was judgment, of course, but no entry fee.
Yeah. Well, I think anything worth doing needs to be a little hard. You know what I mean? Like, there needs to be some sort of resistance. Otherwise, if it's easy, everybody will do it, right? So I remember early on back in the day, like there was like a weird thing where it was like, oh, like these kids are Nazis. Like, what? Really? Like that shit's still like there's still that, and like that was a weird fucking thing happening. Or like these guys are like tough guys, like and if you're at the show, like you better know ninja moves because they're gonna try to kick you in the face for no reason. Like there was shit like that happening. But, like you did what you had to do to find like the right scene for yourself, And I do remember, like, back in the day when I was first coming up, like, there was shows where it was like, oh, it's you know, like a fucking crust punk band playing with like this weird, like, you know, ska band, and then there was a hardcore band, and like and then a weird butt rock band opening. It was like, you know, everybody. It was just everybody wanted to play, you know. And so that happened a lot. So there would be these factions of kids that didn't normally get along, but it was the local show, and nobody else, you had nothing else to do, and you wanted to go there.
I think when you come from a city of a certain size, that's just the way it is. So in El Paso, everybody would play with everybody because there wasn't a choice. Like, that's just, if there was a show, it's gonna be good. Yeah. Hey, I think so. Instagram only allows us a certain amount of time.
Gotcha.
So I want to wrap it up before we get cut off. But I want to say, Frankie, thanks so much for hanging out, and I loved talking, and I hope to see you soon.
I had a blast, man. I look forward to seeing you in the flesh at some point.
Yeah. We'll play some shows.
Sounds good, man. All right. Later.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you later.
Cheers.
All right. Bye, everybody.